Welcome, crafty friends. Today we're diving into the power of primary colors in card making. Red, yellow, and blue might seem simple, but when used together, they create bold, vibrant, and eye catching designs that truly pop. In this video, we're going to explore fun color combinations and share easy techniques to make your handmade cards stand out. Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Egan, and this is Inking It Up with Mindy. You can find me here every month on the Altenew YouTube channel having fun with color combinations. So let's get started. The set that I'm going to be using today is the Build a Garden Oxeye Daisy set. So this does have a stamp set, it has a coordinating die, and it also has a stencil. And I will be using all three of these products today. And one of the first things that I always do when I get my stencils is I go through them and make sure that they are in order. This one, I believe, is a 5-piece stencil, and the numbers are always etched kind of somewhere on the stencil to let you know what order they are in. I'll be using my Stampwheel 2.0 to do my stamping, and I want to create two bouquets on the front of my card. So I'm making sure to place my cardstock down in the bottom left hand corner, and I'm going to place my bouquet down in that bottom corner because I want to stamp this twice on the same cardstock. Now, because I haven't used this stamp set yet before, I am taking my eraser. This is from Altenew, and I'm just going over it with that eraser to help condition the stamp. And then I'm going to clean it with a chamois and then dry it with my hand so that way we don't get any water spots on our card. By conditioning your stamp, it is going to take ink a lot better. Then I'm going to take some limestone ink. So any type of light colored ink will work for this. This is my preferred stamping technique when it comes to layering stencils. I'm going to ink this up really well in that limestone ink and stamp this down. What I like to do is stamp my image first in a light colored ink. And then after I'm done ink blending, I will put my cardstock back in the same position and stamp over the top with a black ink. So now that I have that stamped down, I'm going to flip my cardstock so that I can stamp this one more time. So again, I'm just going to ink up the image with that light colored ink and stamp this down onto my cardstock. And I am not going to trim my cardstock in half. I'm going to leave my cardstock as this whole piece and just do all of my ink blending as is. A lot of times it's easier to work with a smaller area when it comes to the ink blending, but because I want to stamp these images again in black ink, I'm just going to leave my cardstock as the full sheet. Then I'm going to just flip my top plate over so my stamp is facing up, and I'm going to set that off on the side. Now I'm going to take my cardstock and place it down onto my sticky mat. This one happens to be from the original stamp wheel because I can't find my 9 by 12 sticky mat. Otherwise, I would be using that. But this is still going to work because the sticky mat is going to hold my cardstock in place and also my stencil. So this is the first layer of the stencil, and I am just masking off certain areas right now on the stencil. I'm going to come back to those a little later. Now I'm going to start with the lightest color out of the Red Sunset collection. So this happens to be blush, and I am using a small blending brush to just lightly place down some color. That's kind of my starting point. I always place down a light color first and I have it kind of fade off into the white at the edge of the petals. Next, I'm going to come in with a shade darker, except I think I jumped a step in the Red Sunset collection. This happens to be crimson, and I'm starting in the center. And then as I get out, maybe about halfway, I'll have that fade off a little bit. Now I'll remove the stencil and I'm going to lift up my cardstock, flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other one right away. One thing I do want to point out is I am cleaning my stencil before I even do that same technique on this second piece or this second image because I really want to start out with the light color again, like I did before. If I hadn't cleaned the stencil, that dark ink would have been on top, and I really wanted to start with that light color first and then be able to come in with that darker shade. Then for the rest of the video, I'm not going to show me doing the stenciling for both bouquets. I'm just going to show the one, but I will be using the same technique on both bouquets and also cleaning the stencil in between. So this is layer two. It's going to fill in the rest of the petals. And again, I started out with that blush and then coming in with the crimson using a mini blending brush to really kind of be able to focus in on those certain areas. Now, there is one part in here that I think I kind of oopsed with. I think I did these areas of the stencil a little too soon. I think these are meant to be done later, but it's still going to work out really well. I just had repeated those same steps of doing the blush ink first, coming in a little bit with the crimson, and then even a little bit more using the velvet, which is the darkest color out of the red sunset collection. And for that, I used a micro blending brush. Now, again, I think I did that stencil with these smaller areas just a little bit too soon, but it's still gonna look great. Now I'm gonna come in with the next layer of the stencil for the petals, and this one is going to add some detail to our petals. Now, to start with this, I am going to start with the crimson ink, which is actually the color that I left off on. And I am going to approach this in a similar way that I did the other layers. So, with the crimson, I'm starting in the center. And as I get out towards the edge of the petals, I am going to not press as hard, so it's going to be a little bit lighter. Then I'm going to come in with the micro blending brush. And this time I'm going to be using velvet. So again, starting in the center, because that's usually where the darkest area of the flower is going to be, and then blending out towards the ends. So right now it might not look like much, but once we stamp the detail back over the top, it's really going to enhance that design. Now I'm going to work on the center of the flowers. And for this, I am using lemon ice to start with. I know it looks bright green on screen, but it is a really, really light and kind of a bright yellow. So I am going over the centers. I did also go over the leaves because I kind of forgot for a moment that I wanted to do blue leaves. So I did do the edges, but that actually turns out really neat. So wait for that. Now, before I removed the stencil, I am coming in. I think I used lemonade stand to add a little bit of highlight or darker area, I should say, shadow area to the center of the flowers. Now, to work on the leaves, I am going to be using the Marine Life collection. And I believe I skipped over the first color, which is the lightest. I think I skipped over the blueberry because it was so light. And I started out with Blue Horizon, kind of starting where the leaves are all meeting at the stem and blending out towards the edge. And then came in a little bit with Ride the Wave. And then notice as I got towards the ends of the tips where I had that yellow, it started to turn this really unique green color. Now, I'm going back to one of my previous layers of the stencil. I think this was stencil number one, and it had these additional elements on there. So I masked off the areas above it so I don't get blue into my red flowers and just filled that in with those same colors of blue. Now, our next stencil is adding the detail to our leaves and our centers. So for that, I am using raw amber and I'm going over that with my mini blending tool. I'm going to wipe off the excess ink and then place some post-it tape over the top just in case I get carried away with my blue. And I'm coming in, I believe this was the Ride the Wave. And then I'll come in with a micro blending brush with navy. And these blues really do pack a serious punch. This is a color combination for flowers that I don't think I have ever done before, so it was a unique experience for me, and I was really happy with the results. Now, once my blending is done, I'm placing my cardstock back into my Stampwheel 2.0, making sure it's tucked down in that bottom corner, and then I'm going to ink up the image with the Obsidian ink. Now, you can maybe take a transparency and place it over the top if you want to test stamp it to make sure it is lined up correctly. But I was pretty confident, so I just went ahead and stamped it down, and the reveal is breathtaking in my opinion. I was really, really happy with the results. Now, I did notice that I had a smudge on there, but I was pretty sure I'd be able to get rid of that or cover it up once I start arranging my bouquets on my card front. But the red and blue, because we are using the primary colors with red, yellow, and blue, that is one of the reasons that it is such a striking design and color combination. For the background, I am using a piece of cardstock cut to 4 by 6 because I decided in order to fit everything on the front of my card, I needed to turn it into a 5 by 7. And I like to have a white border. So I started out with a piece that is 4 by 6. And I'm using the blueberry ink starting in one corner and kind of having it fade off into white, getting towards the top corner. I already had kind of pre designed it a little bit. So I had an idea how my bouquet was going to look and knew that my sentiment would go in that top left hand corner, which is why I'm leaving that kind of free of ink. I had also come in with just a smidge of the blue horizon down in the bottom right hand corner. And now I am placing the Luminous Diamonds stencil over the top and just briefly dusting over it to give it a little bit of texture in the background. I die cut out both of the bouquets with the coordinating die, place them in a splat box, and I'm splattering on some titanium gouache using a little bit of water and a paintbrush. I'm also going to add a small amount of splatters to the background. I did already stamp a sentiment off screen using that same stamp set and cut it out with the coordinating die. So I do have that ready. And now for my panel, I am gluing down one of the bouquets kind of off on that right hand side, just using some liquid glue. And then the other one that's going to be over the top of it or overlapping it, I added a little bit of the foam tape and then the rest using liquid glue. So whatever part of my flowers are overlapping my previous bouquet is where I'm adding the liquid glue. Then I'll also go ahead and add my sentiment up towards the top. And I know that I have some leaves overhanging. So once everything is glued down, I'm going to flip it over and trim off any excess. But those come in handy because I did feel like I had kind of an open spot down in the bottom corner. So I'm going to save those and rearrange them down in that corner to help fill in that space a little bit. So once I had all of my edges cleaned up by trimming off the rest of the excess, I am going to add some foam tape to the back of this panel and I'm going to attach it to a 5x7 card front. This is going to leave me a really nice white border around the edge and it's also going to help kind of frame my design. So while these flowers might not be realistic, you may not see blue leaves in the wild. It is a stunning color combination because we used primary colors that look good together. And it just makes a striking and eye-catching card to send to somebody. I hope this video has inspired you to dig out some of your primary colors and give this color combination a try. And I will see you back here next month. Bye, everyone.
Hey there, Lydia here. I really do hope that you've just enjoyed the video. If so, please subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, turn on the notification bell so you can get your daily dose of crafty techniques and tutorials just like this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.